Just one more reflection on Luke before we move on to tracking the amazing advance of the world Christian movement beyond Acts chapter 28. I really do love this guy Luke. I appreciate so much the fact that Luke wrote the book of Acts. Luke, it seems, saw something of the wider global scope of Jesus' ministry and was determined to help us all to understand precisely just what that was. The book of Acts could just as easily have been entitled 2nd Luke. This second book that Luke wrote, the sequel to the gospel that bears his name, was written to demonstrate the seamless continuity of what Jesus began to do and teach in the Gospels with what Jesus continued to do and teach following his resurrection and ascension. Now no longer restricted to one physical body, Jesus was able to replicate through his church what he did in the Gospels many hundreds, thousands, even millions of times over, on all continents, in all countries, among all peoples, throughout the big wide world. Fantastic. The early church caught this vision, and the book of Acts, or 2nd Luke, reads like the Gospels multiplied. In John 14:12, Jesus says, "Very truly I tell you, the one who believes in me will also do the works that I do." Do your own research, and you will discover that about 2/3 of the book of Acts is taken up with a record of the church scattered, moving beyond its borders and boundaries under the leadership of the Holy Spirit, taking the gospel to where Christ was not yet named. 1/3 is a record of the church gathered. Is there a message for us here? Too many Christians separate the Gospels from Acts. The church began, they say, with the book of Acts. Well, perhaps, but the world Christian movement began with Jesus. It began in the Gospels. Mark shared with Luke this same understanding. Mark's Gospel opens with the beginning of the Gospel about Jesus Christ, the Son of God. Mark 1 verse 1. Jesus is the head of the church, is he not? Jesus is the Lord of the harvest, is he not? Go back to the Gospels. You will find there the DNA or the seeds of a worldwide Christian movement that would one day fill the whole earth with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. Christianity was intended to be nothing less than a movement that would take the knowledge of salvation to all peoples and to all people throughout the earth, spanning many generations. Eventually, all nations, peoples, tribes, and tongues would hear and respond, as we find in Revelation 7:9 that takes place. The book of Acts concludes with these words: God's salvation has been sent to the Gentiles, and they will listen. Acts 28:28. The Message Bible puts it this way: and believe me, they're going to receive it with open arms. This was what Dr. Luke saw. He saw in it the ministry of Jesus. He saw Christ's ministry being outworked by the early church. This captured his imagination, and he set about documenting the progress of this world Christian movement. The Holy Spirit seemed also to like what Paul was writing. Luke's writings take up more of the New Testament than any other single writer. He was a major voice with a major message.